Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to really get into the numbers and insights you sent over from the Infusion battle arena. It's this fixed, neutral space for testing fighters, and today, well, we've got 20 really intense matchups to break down. We're focusing on 4 key characters, each hitting the top of their power level tier. We'll start with Batman in Street tier, then move up to Captain America, that's Enhanced tier. After that, Pitt, launching us into Superhuman. And we finish big with Superman in the Metahuman tier.
That's the plan. And it's really important first to get how the arena works. These win percentages, they come from consistent character portrayals. No sudden prep time, no crazy one-off feats. We're looking at their combat skill, their power levels, fighting styles, and yeah, even things like temperament, all in this standard arena.
Right. So our mission today, walk through all 5 fights for each of these guys. Look at the win rates, sure, but really dig into why. What strategies, what powers made the difference here? Let's just jump right in. Street tier first. Okay, Batman. He's our gold standard for skill without powers. We rate him remarkable in combat proficiency, basically the highest you can get through sheer training and talent. He's right at that peak human limit, relies on his smarts, his body, and, oh yeah, all those wonderful toys.
Exactly. That peak human status is key. Batman's the ultimate generalist, isn't he? Master of martial arts, stealth, knows pressure points, and those gadgets are critical. They have to be, to make up for having no built-in superpowers.
First fight, Batman versus Deadpool. Bats takes it, but narrowly 55% to 45%. I gotta say, I might have expected Deadpool's healing and, well, his sheer unpredictability to maybe edge it out. Why does Batman win more often?
It's about how you win, right? Wade's tough, incredibly durable, no question. But the arena data shows his healing factor isn't always instant in the heat of battle. It can lag. Batman, with his remarkable skill and that tactical brain, finds ways to contain Wade. Think sonic gadgets, focused electrical bursts, stuff that overwhelms the healing before it fully kicks in, enough to incapacitate him more often than not.
Containment, got it. But then comes Deathstroke, and containment fails. Batman loses 45% to Slade Wilson's 55%. Feels like this is where tactics hit a physical wall.
That's exactly it. This is Batman hitting that tier ceiling hard. Slade's got comparable skill, maybe near remarkable himself, but he's enhanced. He's faster, stronger, tougher. Bruce can try to outthink him, sure, but Slade's physical edge is immediate. And the big one, Slade goes for the kill instantly. Batman's limits are human, Deathstroke's enhancements plus his lethality. That gives Slade the consistent edge.
Okay, that makes sense. Then he fights Guardian, Jim Harper, and it's a blowout. 75% win for Batman. Seems like Guardian's just too straightforward.
He is. Guardian's solid, disciplined, definitely skilled. We'd probably call him formidable. But he's a tier below Batman in overall mastery and especially cunning. Batman's got way more tricks up his sleeve, better gadgets, better strategy. He just picks apart Guardian's shield and punch style pretty consistently.
Now this one always gets people talking. Iron Fist, Danny Rand. Batman wins this majority, 55% to 45%. You've got pure chi mastery versus Batman's toolkit. How does versatility beat that focused power?
Yeah, this shows how adaptability can counter raw, specialized skill.
Right.
Danny's chi, phenomenal. The Iron Fist itself, devastating. But it needs focus, certain rhythm sometimes. Batman doesn't fight fair, does he? He uses gadgets, misdirection, attacks from weird angles, things that disrupt Danny's focus, interrupt the chi flow just enough times across many fights. That's how he scrapes out the narrow majority.
Interesting. So disruption is key. But then, the final street tier fight, Richard Dragon. Batman loses 45% to 55%. Wait, why does Dragon beat Batman when Batman beat Iron Fist? They're both pure martial artists, right?
But Dragon is something else entirely. In our system, Richard Dragon is rated unprecedented. That's a level of pure skill even beyond Batman's remarkable. Think of it as the absolute peak of martial arts perfection in his universe. In a straight-up fight, in this fixed arena, Dragon's flawless technique, his precision, it's just enough to find openings even Batman's tactics and gadgets can't fully cover. He consistently outskills Bruce by that tiny but decisive margin.
Okay, let's climb the ladder. Moving up to the enhanced tier with Captain America. Steve Rogers' super soldier serum giving him that boost. Better strength, stamina, reflexes. A step above peak human.
Right, and the enhanced tier is where that physical advantage really starts to define things. They're stronger, tougher than any normal human, but still, fundamentally below the truly superhuman level. That physical buffer gives them a clear edge over street tier folks, but they aren't quite throwing tanks yet.
First up for Cap Bane, he takes a solid 60% majority here against the street tier powerhouse.
Yeah, this one comes down to staying power and discipline. Both guys are smart fighters, tacticians.
Yeah.
But even with Bane juiced up on Venom, Steve's baseline conditioning and stamina are just superior. Cap can keep fighting at peak performance longer. Bane eventually tires or makes a mistake under pressure. Steve's consistency wins out most of the time.
And then the mirror match, kinda. Cap versus Batman. Cap gets the win, 55% to 45%. So the serum makes the difference here.
Exactly. You've got two fighters with essentially equal, remarkable hand-to-hand skills. When skill is that close, the physical advantage becomes the tiebreaker. Cap's just that little bit stronger, faster, can take a bit more punishment. In a direct fight, that lets him edge out Batman's versatility just enough.
But then he hits a wall, Deathstroke again. Cap loses 45% to 55%. This is surprising, you know. Cap's got the shield, he's tactically brilliant. If he beats Batman, why not Slade?
It's a really good point, and it highlights how specific enhancements and character traits matter in the arena. Both Cap and Slade are enhanced, yeah, but Slade's enhancements are arguably more potent in some ways, enhanced brain function, maybe even better reflexes than Rogers. But the big factor, again, is lethality. Slade doesn't hold back, ever. He aims to end the fight immediately, decisively. Cap, despite his discipline and that amazing shield, is generally portrayed with more restraint. Slade exploits that slight hesitation or defensive posture. That ruthlessness gets in the majority.
Ruthlessness pays off, okay.
Yeah.
Against Guardian, though, total mismatch again. Steve wins 80% to 20%.
No real contest there. Cap's enhanced abilities, decades of experience, mastery of the shield,
Yeah.
just completely overcomes Harper's more grounded, straightforward fighting style.
All right, now Cap's other major loss versus Iron Fist. Cap loses narrowly, 45% to 55%. Hold on. Batman used gadgets to disrupt Danny and win. Why does Cap's enhanced strength lose here?
Because Danny isn't just about skill, he's channeling chi. That focused energy does things brute force can't easily counter. Danny's mastery lets him find tiny weaknesses, exploit leverage points. And the Iron Fist technique itself, it's not just blunt force, it's focused energy that can potentially bypass some of the durability the serum provides. Cap relies on his overall physical superiority, but Danny's specialized, almost mystical technique can pierce that defense just often enough to grab the win percentage. It's about the type of power.
Okay, enough about skill versus enhancement tweaks. Let's jump way up. Superhuman tier. We're talking Pitt, alien physiology, crazy reflexes, that whole feral adaptability thing. Big power jump.
Oh yeah. Now we're in the realm of, well, actual forces of nature. Superhuman baseline means serious power. Strength usually somewhere between, say, lifting a couple of tons up to maybe 500 tons. These characters can just walk through street or enhanced opponents. No contest.
Pitt starts off against blockbuster Roland Desmond. Clear win for Pitt, 65% to 35%.
Yep. Blockbuster is basically just raw superhuman muscle, loads of strength. But Pitt, while definitely strong, is also incredibly fast and agile for his size. He's got that feral instinct. He's not just a tank, he can move. That lets him consistently outmaneuver Blockbuster's straightforward power approach. Agility beats brute force here.
But then the tables turn. First loss, Etrigan the Demon. Pitt only gets 40%. Etrigan takes 60%.
Classic power mismatch. Pitt's
Wow.
got the alien strength and claws, which is great against physical opponents.
Yeah.
But Etrigan, he brings magic, demonic resilience, mystical hellfire, supernatural toughness. Magic acts as a hard counter to purely physical power sometimes. Etrigan can tank Pitt's hits and dish out damage Pitt isn't really equipped to handle.
Magic trumps alien muscle. Got it.
Yeah.
And the loss against Hulk, the sort of child savage version, is even worse for Pitt, 35% to 65%. Is this just Hulk being way stronger?
It's about the escalation. Pitt's fierce, he's strong, he can definitely hang in there for a bit. It's competitive initially, but he can't solve the fundamental Hulk problem. The angrier Hulk gets, the stronger he gets. Infinitely, potentially. Pitt might win some early rounds, but across many, many simulated fights in the arena, Hulk's ever-increasing power just overwhelms him. Pitt doesn't have that kind of scaling ability or the raw power ceiling to eventually put Hulk down for good.
Okay, rage scaling is unbeatable for Pitt. Back to wins, though. Pitt versus Mammoth, 60% for Pitt.
Yeah, this is similar to the Blockbuster fight, really. Mammoth is another powerhouse, huge raw strength. But again, Pitt's agility and those unpredictable feral combat instincts win out. He's just better at dodging, countering, and exploiting openings against a slower, more direct powerhouse like Mammoth.
And finally, a tight one against Rhino. Pitt wins 55% to 45%.
Rhino's dangerous, no doubt. That suit gives him incredible durability, and his charging power is immense. He could definitely hurt Pitt. But Pitt's got better combat sense, you know? He's more mobile. He's better at reading the charge, using the environment, finding ways around that initial impact. Those instincts give him just enough of an edge over Rhino's pure momentum.
All right, we've climbed the mountain. We're at the top tier for today's deep dive. Metahuman. And our example is Superman. This is where baseline power goes off the charts, kilotons to planetary scale stuff. Huge, versatile power sets.
Yeah, metahumans are basically living legends, mythic strength levels. They often combine immense strength with speed, flight, energy projection, multiple powers. These are the characters who, just by existing, can threaten whole nations or even planets. We're talking the absolute upper echelon of power in these universes.
Okay, let's get into the big one right away. Superman versus Black Adam. Supes takes it, but just barely, 55% to 45%. Given they have almost identical powers and Adam is way more ruthless, why does Superman edge him out?
It is incredibly close, you're right. The powers are nearly a mirror image. But the arena data suggests two things give Clark the tiny edge. First, his sheer experience. He's fought cosmic threats for decades. Second, and maybe more controversially, his temperament. Adam's ruthlessness is an advantage, yes. But Superman's greater restraint, his calmer head under pressure, means he makes fewer critical mistakes in these prolonged high-stakes battles. That consistency, that adaptability born from restraint, earns him that slight majority over repeat encounters.
Interesting. Restraint as a form of consistency, but then Captain Marvel, Billy Batson, it's a dead even 50-50 split. Every time. Why the perfect stalemate here?
It's almost uncanny how balanced they are. Clark has the experience edge, the tactical mind. But Billy's power comes from magic. That negates some of Superman's advantages, particularly against energy or maybe even some physical vulnerabilities. And while Billy might have a younger, sometimes less strategic mind, the raw magical power compensates. Experience versus magic, maturity versus raw power. It just perfectly balances out. A true deadlock.
Okay, magic levels the field. Now, facing Darkseid, Superman loses this one 45% to 55%. If Clark's restraint helped against Adam, why does he fall short against the Lord of Apocalypse?
Because Darkseid brings something Adam doesn't, the Omega effect. Darkseid can match Clark's strength, maybe even exceed his durability depending on the day. He's incredibly cunning. But those Omega beams, they aren't just heat vision. They can teleport, transmute, erase from existence. They're fundamentally unpredictable and reality warping. Superman might be faster, but Darkseid is incredibly tough, ruthless, and wields a weapon that bypasses conventional defenses. That versatility and power consistently gives Darkseid the edge.
The Omega effect is the game changer. Got it. How about Hyperion? He's basically a Superman analog. Clark wins this one 55% to 45%.
Yeah, this comes back to that experience and consistency factor again. Hyperion's got the power set, no question, very similar to Clark's. But Superman just has a much longer, much deeper track record of fighting top-tier threats across the universe. His tactical thinking, his ability to adapt on the fly, using his powers with more precision honed over years, that gives him the slight but consistent advantage over his powerful counterpart.
Experience counts at the highest levels. Finally, the Mad Titan himself, Thanos, but without the Infinity Gauntlet. Superman loses, 45% to 55%. Thanos is tough, sure, but Superman has speed, flight, heat vision. How does Thanos take the majority?
Thanos is just built different, as they say. He's eternal with insane physiology. His resilience, his sheer durability is off the charts. Plus, he's a genius-level strategist in combat. Superman can definitely hurt him. Speed blitzes, heat vision bursts. Those will rock Thanos. But Thanos can take it. He endures. His stamina, both physical and mental, is immense. He weathers the storm, adapts his tactics, and finds openings. Across many grueling fights, Thanos' ability to simply absorb punishment and keep coming, combined with his own strength and intellect, proves more consistent for securing the win. He outlasts Superman's initial onslaughts more often.
Wow, okay, that was a lot. 20 fights dissected. It really shows how the smallest things, a bit more speed, a specific power type, even temperament, can decide who wins more often.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you look at the big picture, like the pattern here is clear, isn't it? Raw power isn't everything. We saw Pitt, a superhuman powerhouse, lose to Etrigan's magic and Hulk's unique rage scaling. The type of power matters.
Right. And down at the lower tiers, skill specialization could beat versatility. Richard Dragon's pure martial arts beat Batman's gadgets and planning. Iron Fist's chi beat Cap's all-around enhancements. The wins might be narrow, but the reason for the win is specific.
And maybe the most fascinating takeaway is at the metahuman level. Temperament becomes a huge factor. Superman beating Black Adam versus losing to Darkseid. A lot of that seems tied to Clark's restraint and how his opponents either match it or exploit it with ruthlessness or unique powers like the Omega effect.
Yeah, we definitely need to explore that restraint angle more. Next time, we're going to do just that with a new set of characters. We've got data for Nightwing, Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Wonder Woman lined up.
Sounds great. But before we wrap up, here's something to chew on. Based on that Superman-Black Adam fight, the 55-45 split, Clark's restraint arguably helped him win through consistency. But when you face guys like Darkseid or Deathstroke, who are consistently portrayed as going straight for the kill, is that inherent restraint ultimately a tactical plus in the arena, ensuring smarter fighting? Or is it a fundamental liability against opponents who simply don't play by the same rules? Think about that trade-off.
Definitely something to ponder. We'll pick it up next time. Thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive.